Hello, and welcome to Spirit Among Us. This week we're talking about pursuing humility, how important it is to be humble in our lives. Yesterday we talked about how it's important to be humble before God. It's necessary for us to recognize who we are compared to who God is, and how we should think of ourselves when we are comparing ourselves to Him. Now today what I want to focus on is being humble before man. Being humble before the people around us. See, we're not just told to be humble before God, but also to be humble towards one another, to act in humility, to reject pride. Let's take a look at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5. Likewise, you who are younger, be subject to the elders. Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility toward one another. For God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So here in verse 5, it starts off by talking to those who are young in the church. He says, you guys need to have humility. You need to be humble when it comes to dealing with the elders that are in the church. You need to be willing to listen to them, be subject to their teaching, recognizing that they have more life experience and hopefully more godly experience than you do. And then after that, after he addresses those who are younger, he says to everyone, listen, all of you clothe yourselves with humility toward one another. Be humble in your dealings with one another. Now, what exactly does that mean? I think what that's really talking about is our actions, how we present ourselves, how we conduct ourselves before other people. He uses the term clothe yourselves. And what do clothes do? Clothes cover up the appearance. They are the outward appearance of who we are. Clothes are what people see us wearing. When people look at us in public, they see our clothes. And in the same way, we are to clothe ourselves with humility so that other people will see that and give glory to God. When they see our actions, when they see the way we conduct ourselves with other people, and how that is absent of pride, they will give God glory. They will see that fruit in us. Now, what this really is a reflection of is how love is not selfish. Love is not self-seeking. See, really, pride is all about us. Pride is all about satisfying the self, seeking the self's desires before anyone else's. That is the priority. I need to be satisfied. I need to be happy. I need to have everything good with me before I could even give a care about anyone around me. But that's not what we're told to do. We are not called to be prideful. We're actually told that God opposes the proud, but He gives grace to the humble. So we are called to clothe ourselves with humility, to act in humility towards others. But it doesn't just stop with our actions. Let's take a look at Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you not look only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So here in Philippians, Paul says, do nothing from selfish ambition. Do not live in selfishness. Do not be self-seeking, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Now, what is this doing here? This is not just talking about clothing ourselves with humility. This is not just talking about conducting ourselves in a humble way. This is talking about our mental state, how we understand who we are and how we understand who other people are. This goes beyond just our actions, but also our motives. In humility, count other people more significant than yourself. Think of them as greater, more important than you are. Now, that is a difficult thing to do. That is a high calling. Certainly, that is the opposite of pride. But nevertheless, it is still something that we are being called to do. Let each of you not only look to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. We are called to be humble before mankind, to be humble with people around us. Now let me just ask you, do you often consider other people in your life as more significant than you are? Do you often look to the interests of others, the needs of others, the wants and desires of others as more important than your own? That's what true humility is about. It's a difficult thing to do. I know I struggle with it in my own life time and time again. But it is something that God is calling us to do. He's called us to not only be humble before Him, but also to be humble before man. Thank you for watching, and God bless.